What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to my talk on racial injustice, police brutality, and racism in general. I didn't even mean to have this week not be a week where I actually uploaded any content about credit cards. I think subconsciously I just couldn't put the energy into a video until I actually address this on this channel. I have a personal Facebook page. It's not tailored to travel, so I don't promote it on here, but I have a personal Facebook page and I've already done a similar live, but I felt the need to come on here and just speak my mind, because I don't think I could sit well at night if I just got on this, got on YouTube and was just talking about credit cards and points and miles, while people that look like me are, for one, out there on the front lines trying to fight for better, trying to fight for better treatment of people that look like me. I can't talk about something which is ultimately so frivolous as points and miles while people are fighting for our right to not be killed senselessly. And I really appreciate two YouTubers who I really, really enjoy their content: Marquez Brownlee, MKBHD, and Daquan Wilshire. I very much appreciate them using their large platforms to talk about this. And it's crazy that the perception is, talking about racism or topics like this is controversial. Like, it could make me lose subscribers, or it can make me lose any kind of sponsorship or something, which it really blows my mind, and it's really unsettling. You would think internationally everybody would agree that racism is bad, that social injustice should not be a thing, that police brutality should not be allowed to exist in this country. But for some reason, especially when black people talk about it, it's taboo. I don't understand that. So let me just say this right now, even though I only have 55 subscribers, and I appreciate you all. If you have an issue with people wanting to make sure that they're treated like human beings, if you have an issue with somebody saying, hey, I've experienced racism in this country myself, if you have an issue with somebody not wanting police brutality to be disproportionately dealt out on people that look like me, if you have an issue with that and you want to unsubscribe because I'm telling you about my experience and how important this is to people that look like me, if you want to unsubscribe because of that, then good riddance. I don't need subscribers that I can't even relate to on a human level. Because this isn't even a black, a white, Hispanic, Asian thing. This is a human problem. It's a human problem. And it's frustrating to me that we have not only content creators, but for me, even with people that are on my friends list on my personal Facebook page, it's frustrating to me when I've seen them put up, we stand with, France, we stand with this denomination, we stand with this culture, we support people of victims of this, we stand with Vegas or whatever. And they've changed their profile pictures to put those colors and stuff over their profile pictures. They can do that, and yet when black people, or at the very least, if you just want to get behind this case, a black man is killed on camera while handcuffed because a man decided to keep his knee in his neck while other people put pressure down on his back until he died. You're silent. You can understand the frustrations and pain and anguish of people across the country or across the world. You can understand that. You can support them. And yet a black man dies on camera in your very own country and you're silent. And the kicker, have the gall, the audacity to come out and talk about rioting and protest and looting. Nothing about George Floyd. They were silent when it was just George Floyd dying on camera. They were okay about that. They weren't demanding justice for that. But when merchandise is at stake or things start making them uncomfortable, now all of a sudden, they're charged up. They're ready to speak out. No, it doesn't work that way. I don't want to hear it. I really don't. And I learned a lot about people on my friends list, and especially a lot of these content creators that are trying to stay silent about stuff now, even though they've potentially spoke out about other issues on their channel. Yeah, I don't mind that. That's I'm on base right now. Somebody's parking, so I'll just wait till they're done. Yeah. And the thing for me, speaking of being on base, I'm in the military, and while I have this uniform on, it's almost like a shield. It's my way of communicating, hey, I'm not a thug, essentially. I have this uniform on, and I'm an officer in the Air Force. I have my camera on in my office at home, and I'm a YouTuber who likes to talk about credit cards and points and miles and all that stuff. But the uniform comes off and the camera turns off. And when I'm out on the street, I'm moving about, I'm just another black man who could potentially be a thug, depending on what somebody's experiences have been with black people. And that's the uphill battle that black people have to face right out of the gate. Is our default is to prove that we're not thugs, that we're not, that our black women aren't baby mamas or, ratchet or whatever. Because that, for some reason, is our perceived default. We have to actively work and project that that's not us. What's the default perception for white people in this country? What's the default perception for Asian people in this country? That's something that black people have to deal with. We have to work hard to not have a default of being a drain on society. And I implore anybody that watches this, especially if you don't have personal relationships, and in some cases, especially if you have personal relationships with black people, ask them, talk to them about their experiences in this country. It doesn't have to be something weird. Don't make it awkward. It's going to be uncomfortable, but I guarantee you, not only will you more than likely earn that black person's respect, you potentially earn a friend for life, but you could save a life. The knowledge and understanding that you get from that conversation and could potentially spread to somebody else could save my life. It could save the little boy that I look to in that mirror every day when I drop him off at daycare. it could save his life, because my parents have been fighting this fight. My parents were fighting this fight. I'm now fighting this fight. It's ongoing, and there's a chance I might not see the other side before my time comes. But I have a responsibility to do what I can to at least give him a chance to see it. And if you have that conversation with a black person, just do me a favor. One, go into it with an open mind. And two, do more listening than you do talking. Please. All you have to do is say, hey, I know I don't know what it's like to be a black man or black woman in this country, but I want to be educated, or I want to have a better understanding of what it's like for you, and I want to do my part to help stop the spread and to help crush racism. And just listen. Don't do what a lot of people do, which is try and turn it into a debate. Do not turn it into a debate. Just listen. There's a time and a place for everybody who wants to always play devil's advocate, but that's not the conversation to do it. In my experience, it's been more of a way for people to deflect and not feel uncomfortable and try and basically defend the privilege that they have. Yes, there is a thing in this country as white privilege. It is a fact. And it doesn't necessarily have to be something pushed on you, but if we're pushed back, that naturally pushes you ahead. It's just, if we were here at the same spot and we're being pushed back, you are naturally ahead. That is privilege. You are here. We are here because of resistance. It's documented in this country. Every aspect we have tried to progress, black people, we have met resistance. Look at all the sports movies. You get the black team and they're trying to, come together and do something in their community. They're trying to do whatever. And there's usually resistance from white people during that time. That's with the sports movies. That's with the debate movies. That's with the lawyer movies. That's with all the military movies. All of these experiences, all these places in this country, black people have tried to make progress. We have met resistance, meaning we are not where we could have been had we been supported and embraced by this country instead of resisted. Imagine where the black community would be if we had been embraced and supported in our endeavors early on in this country. But instead, we got called the N-word. We've had communities bombed. And in case you don't know, there's a thing called Black Wall Street. It's a prospering black community. It's one of the few times the United States has bombed itself. And it was a black community. This is the kind of this is what creates that gap. So please understand that this isn't black people being delusional. We're not crying wolf. We're not making this up. This is a thing. And the crazy thing is, People love to push Martin Luther King on black people when it's time for us to show that we've had enough. Except people didn't like Martin Luther King when he was alive. They didn't like him when he was alive. They didn't embrace Martin Luther King. That's why he was assassinated. He was not embraced by this country. He was an annoyance, and people didn't like him. And yet, now that he's dead, people try and use him as black people's gold standard for how we should display our frustrations in this country. That's not the way that works. But the funny thing is, you remember there was somebody that was protesting nonviolently. Colin Kaepernick. Did people embrace him? Did people, say like, yeah, we understand? No, the NFL was sick of it. A lot of people were sick of it. And when Nike endorsed Colin Kaepernick, people were burning Nike gear. It seems very similar to how Martin Luther King was treated, right? That was very nonviolent, right? And yet it wasn't embraced because people didn't like it. It made people uncomfortable. It made people think about things they'd rather not think about. And that's privilege. My urgency to not be killed because police see me differently is not the same urgency that you have for me not to get killed because police see me differently. You see the difference? My life and the lives of people that look like me are more in danger. Therefore, our urgency is a lot higher than people that don't look like us. It's natural. It's natural. But there needs to be change. Police cannot continue to just treat people anyway, to murder people with impunity. This is a natural result of this system. There's no way that multiple police officers, should be in several instances recorded on camera lying about their actions, intentionally and willfully lying about their actions, and then just be released back out into a community as like a demerit on their record or something. There's no way. And yet that's the system that we allow. Police can lie about things, and then it's just, oh, okay. It can't be allowed. It just can't. My son is gonna be a black man someday. God willing. Because Tamir Rice never got to be a black man. And, I really hate some of these people are criminals. Don't do the crime and you won't have to do this. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Okay, what about the black people? And for one, that's ignorant. But for two, what about the black people that weren't doing crimes? They were just black, living their life. Like Philando Castile, who was a passenger in the car, and the cop wanted his ID for whatever reason. Told the cop that he had a weapon in the car, which is the lawful thing to do. And as he's reaching for his wallet, as the cop instructed him, the cop freaks out and kills him. Was he a criminal? Oh, wait. I know. Then that's when people decide to, well, you shouldn't have did this, you shouldn't have did that, you should have stopped him. How many people watching this have had a loaded gun pointed in their face? Probably not many. And that moment of having a gun pointed in your face, for a lot of people, it'd be the first time in their entire life they're staring down death. Death. Let me emphasize it. It's death. You get shot in the head, more than likely, it's game over. You get shot in the heart or in a bad place in the stomach, more than likely it's game over. It's it. To have this knowledge in your head while somebody who's not trained or has their own mental problems or whatever is trying to bark inconsistent orders at you or tell you to do something, it's not anyone's place to say how you should act as a civilian. Cops are supposed to be trained for that situation, not us. We aren't trained on, as part of just being a U.S. citizen. This is what you do when you have a gun pointed to you. That's not normal. And yet when we get killed in these situations, our actions are dissected as though, what they call it, the Monday quarterback. Everybody, the hindsight 2020, everybody knows what you should have did in that situation. And now that man is dead. Breonna Taylor was in her home, sleep. 2 a.m, cops bust through her door with a no-knock notice, which is where they don't have to announce themselves that they're the police. They can just barge into your house because they got some warrant. And her boyfriend, who didn't know if they were being robbed because, again, they don't have to announce themselves, shoots one of the cops in the leg. And because of that, Breonna Taylor got shot 8 times and is now dead. She wasn't a criminal. She was an EMT. The cop isn't in jail. There's no consequences. They even tried to charge the boyfriend with fucking attempted murder. Attempted murder. When you don't even know if your house is being broken into. This is not a black problem. This is a human problem. It's going to take more than black people to solve it. It's going to take everybody. Everybody has a part to play. People tried to do this. Excuse me. People try to do this peacefully for a long time. For a very long time. And this is where we are. This is the progression. This is the result of trying to do things peacefully for a long time. I'm not calling for violence against anyone. That's not what I'm doing. But I'm saying that the way things had been done have resulted to here. That's what I'm saying. So the definition of crazy is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Black people would be crazy to think that we can keep doing the same thing over and over again, and eventually, maybe, possibly, we'll be treated like human beings. And that people will suffer consequences, especially cops, will suffer consequences when they violate our human rights. That's all we want. We just want to be treated like human. We don't need to be elevated above any other group of people. We don't need any special privileges. We just want to be treated like human beings. And that means if we are committing a crime, that we get our day in court. It doesn't mean kill us. And it can be done because mass shooters in this country have been taken in peacefully. Dylan Roof, the dude that shot up the church, he got taken to Burger King. So it don't tell me it can't be done or it depends on the crime or whatever. Because it's been shown that it can be done. Just treat us like human beings. I just want to see change. I think we all, if you're a human being, not even if you're just a black person, if you're a human being, you should want to see change. You should want justice for everyone. Justice for all. Till the next time, y'all.